Hi, and welcome to to the final class of celebrating LGBT artistic icons. My name is Hanna, and this is
Daniela.
and today we're gonna bring it home uh, to the source, kind of in a way, of celebrating LGBT Philly. We'll be centering some artists that are from, connected to, in Philly. And yeah, encouraging you to bring it really home for you too, kind of thinking about what is a hub of pride for you, like a collective space. And for us, the project will be kind of take that form of a plant pot, kind of doing a little gardening metaphor. But yeah, Daniela, do you want to say anything about the last class? How are you feeling?
Thank you so much for coming through this journey with us. And yeah, I hope that you find yourself drawing inspiration from all of the artistic icons we've talked about, and that they inspire you and give you reassurance to go ahead and do your own thing too, because be proud of what you do. And I feel like that's kind of the theme of what we've been teaching through this course. It's like, yeah, these people found the voice to be themselves, and look at all the great things they've done. So they can do it, so can you.
Absolutely, that's so beautifully said. Yeah, this has been such a wonderful experience, and thank you again. So let's get into it. Our first artist for today is Jonathan Lyndon Chase, and he's born and raised from Philly. He's born in Philadelphia in 1989, and he went to college and got his master's in Philly as well. At first at the University of the Arts for his bachelor's, and then his master's at PAFA, which is the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. And he is still based in Philly. A lot of his work is really tied to it. He's currently, I believe, working on a series that is talking about the different stops along the Broad Street line. So I'm really excited to see how that turns out. But his work focuses on the sexuality and sensuality of Black men, in themes that can be shared somewhat with one of the previous artists that we featured, Shakith. Really making space for that tenderness and kind of breaking down those walls, opening up like a certain sense of intimacy and such, because of the world we live in. A lot of Black men's sexuality are presented in violent or terrible ways. So his work is really important to show that tenderness and humanity, and love. And so his work is also grounded in his personal experience in Philadelphia. So a lot of his works will pull from almost be somewhat like in a memoir visual, but also some fantasy characters that he's come up with in his mind, callbacks to people he's known in his real life, and so forth, and just exploring a desire that desires multiple that have been hidden and shamed. So here are some of his paintings. In the previous image, he was photographed in his exhibition at the Fabric Workshop and Museum, which is an awesome virtual exhibit. We'll link below. But here are some of his paintings. Hands, 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 two hoodies, from 2019. Tasted his sweet spilling sweat, 2021. And for you, for us, come back soon, 2019. Yeah, and I highly suggest just taking some time to marinate with them, look at them, because these are really beautiful pieces. But you can see just like the emotion and action, even when it's like more in the For You For Us Come Back Soon, there's still that like liveliness. It's almost like shaking, like vibrating with its energy. Yeah.
So this is Michelle Zauner. Even though she was born in Seoul, South Korea in 1989, she did become an artist in Philadelphia. So she moved to Oregon when she was like 9 months old, and then she studied in Bryn Mawr College in the west of Philadelphia. And now she's based in Brooklyn, New York. So she is actually the front of band Japanese Breakfast, which formed in Philly. So this is why I say like she is a Philly artist, because even though she was born elsewhere and raised somewhere else, like this is where she found a name for herself, like made Japanese Breakfast, which is her band.
Yeah, and she had even one band before that, and has since started a duo in 20 with someone I believe who's based in Philly as well. Her musical come up, her art making practice was really developed in Philly and like influenced by the DIY scene of like West Philly. So it's just really cool to see that, honorary Philadelphian.
Yeah.
Even though she's come and gone. And so she says in an interview with Philadelphia's very own Inquirer, I feel like you're a band wherever you came up. And I definitely came up as a musician in Philly. And so recently, after, such halted touring and all, which is in the north of Philly. So after a 5-night stay at Union Transfer, all 5 shows were sold out in early August 2021. Zauner was honored on the last night with a cloakroom named after her at the famous Union Transfer. The cloakroom being named the Michelle Zauner Coat Check, because she actually used to work there. And while working there's also like a little concession stand. So she worked there in like 2011. And there was an anecdote that she had shared with the audience one night of that she had accepted a $100 bill for a $1 pretzel. And it was fake. So her manager at the time was like, you have to pay that back. And she was just a student, and she's like, oh geez, I don't want to pay this. So her boss at the time, a man named Sean, paid it off for her. And in like a really sweet full circle moment, she called him up stage and she gave him a $1 bill. And it was really funny because he was also like checking it under the light, But yeah, that really shows their connection to Philly and how they've just been formed by it. Parts of their most recent album was actually recorded in studios in Fishtown. And one of the band members, the drummer Craig Hendricks, still lives in Philly. And this is a really awesome music video for one of the songs off of their latest album. The album is Jubilee and the song is Savage Good Boy. Mm-hmm. We're gonna link it down below too. Yes. Definitely check it out. Her outfits in this are gorgeous.
So this is Carmen Maria Machado. She was born in Allentown, PA in 1986. She studied in American University in DC and Iowa in the Writers' Workshop. She is an author known for her horror-inspired short stories and essays centering queer women. And she's in residency at UPenn and lives with her wife in West Philadelphia. So a PA native went around and settled back in Philly. Who knows? You might be walking down the street and run into Carmen Maria Machado.
Yeah.
Cool.
Her latest book, so while she works mostly in short stories and essays, and she's known for like work as a critic too, she's recently released a memoir titled In the Dream House. And it's an experimental memoir because, she's creative like that. Focusing on domestic abuse in lesbian relationships. Not only just her personal experience with that, with like an abusive ex, but also tying that to how there's a certain silence surrounding that in particular, because for, a lot of lesbian and same-sex relationships aren't considered valid, so the violence that may happen in those relationships is further denied. And so from the prologue of Machado's book, she writes, "Sometimes stories are destroyed, and sometimes they are never uttered in the first place. Either way, something very large is irrevocably missing from our collective histories. I speak into the silence." And it's like, I think, very important work that this memoir is doing, just recognizing those experiences and, really validating a lot of people. And yeah, throughout her works, including this memoir, her writing is inspired by and references fairy tales, which you'll see in this excerpt coming up from one of the earlier chapters in the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado.
So this is the excerpt. It kind of concludes that the dream house is not a metaphor. And I start. I dare say you have heard of the dream house. It is, as you know, a real place. It stands upright. It is next to a forest and at the rim of a sward. It has foundation. The rumors of the dead buried within it are almost certainly a fiction. There used to be a swing dangling from a tree branch, but now it's just a rope, with a single knot swaying in the wind. I bring this up because it is important to remember that the dream house is real. It is as real as the book you are holding in your hands, though significantly less terrifying. If I cared to, I could give you its address, and you could drive there on your own car and sit in front of that dream house and try to imagine the things that have happened inside. I wouldn't recommend it though, but you could. No one would stop you.
This is gorgeous writing.
Yeah, it really draws you in.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get my hands on a copy soon. But yeah, inspired by these artists and, thinking about how, Philly itself is like a hub for creativity. There's a lot of really beautiful stuff going on in it, connected to this place. Making your own hub of pride in a way. So the main part of this project is going to be decorating a plant pot or a planter. And so you can decide whether if you have like a plant at home already, or if you want to plant some new seeds and try to grow and watch them grow with you. That'll be cool too. So, and start off by like sketching a design or two to decorate your pot. Inspired by these prompts. How do I grow pride? And how do we grow pride together? Because like with all of these artists, they haven't made it through here alone. Jonathan Lyndon Chase and Carmen Maria Machado both thank their partners a lot, their current partners a lot, to where they are creatively now. And Japanese Breakfast would not exist without the other bandmates. So really thinking about that like collective creativity too. And then if you already have a potted plant, you'll just have to be a little more careful. And I suggest using like paint markers, the chalk markers can be really great too. Or if you want to, using like just straight up paint, just being careful. Because if you have a plant pot, you'll be working on it while it is vertical. Handling it gently with care. And kind of work like you're on an easel if there's already soil and a plant in there. If you have soil and seeds, I suggest decorating the pot before you add the stuff, so then you can like hold it, rotate it, look at it from different angles, figure it out. And then finally letting everything dry before you handle it again. And then the last part, just nurturing your plant or seeds a bit with some water. That's all from us for this course. Thank you so much again. Let us know in the comments what you thought below. Thought of the artists, if there was anyone you connected to, any reflections, any suggestions. And we'll also be linking a survey below, which we would really appreciate if you would take and just let us know your reaction.
Feedback, all that good stuff. And then share your photos with Artsphere on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, whatever you want. The @ is like at Artsphere Inc. So you'll be able to find us pretty easily.
Thank you so much and have a good one.
Yeah.